the Know Your Gear podcast.
When I was at the PT Court factory in Indonesia, I was sitting with a bunch of guitar brands in the industry, and they asked me a question, and the question was, do you think stainless steel frets are a fad? I believe stainless steel frets are a fad that will now last forever. And what I said was, and I'm just going to stay to quoting myself so I don't have to get sideways on this. I said, just like organic is a fad that will now stay forever, that implies quality, this is the same thing. Stainless steel implies quality. Whether it's true or not is irrelevant. So for those of you that want to get all upset about, no, Phil, it is quality. No, I'm not arguing that. I'm saying whether it's true or not is irrelevant. People treat the term stainless steel frets like it just means quality. So therefore, it doesn't matter if it is or isn't. It's a perception. So I personally think it is quality, but that's not exactly what's happening in the market. They were very interested, and I say they, I don't mean just Cortec. There was other brands in this discussion, okay? And they followed like with why. And I go, here's why I think stainless steel frets matter. I asked them a question, and by the way, I'm going to give you the answer so you don't have to wait for it. None of them could answer the question. I said, what does a refret cost for stainless steel frets on average in the United States? They didn't know the answer. They didn't even have a good guess. They were a little even weary to throw a guess. And I told them, I said, would it shock you that prices are now $400 to $500 for a stainless steel refret, some high as $600? And they were entirely shocked. They had no idea. I'm pretty sure their guesses were more in the $150 range. And I said, I get it. You're not in the repair business. You're in the building business. And so the reason I told them is I said, think about this. You're telling a customer, I said, this is the analogy I use. Stainless steel frets is like saying, imagine a $30,000 car, so a $500 guitar, and tires, which are frets, cost the same. So a $500 guitar, if you want to refret it in 2 years, costs almost $500 a refret. Now that was stainless steel frets, but you guys understand a good refret now, $350 would be on the cheap end for sure. And this is just from asking, I asked them all to do themselves favors since I know they do tour and talk to their vendors, their dealers. I said, please start going in the back of those dealer stores and talking to those repair shops. You'll learn a lot about why the customer market is thinking the way we are on these shows and why we're doing this stuff. I said, imagine if I told you a $30,000 car would need $30,000 worth of tires in 2 to 5 years if you drove it a lot. That would be astronomically crazy, right? So if a dealer came out and said, well, I'll make you a $30,000 car, but I'll give you lifetime tires, you can imagine what a value is being given to the consumer to say that. So when a $500 guitar has stainless steel frets, it's like this $500 guitar never needs fret work. That happens to be some of the most expensive work you can have done to a guitar. And perceivably, I don't think it's actually, but perceivably, some of the most difficult work for the personal guitar player, hobbyist, whatever you want to call it, to do themselves. Okay, so without a doubt, I believe I took a survey, and I know for a fact this is true, that if I asked you guys what are you the least likely to want to do to your guitar, it's definitely refrets. Refrets are the least likely you guys want to get into. That's the value proposition there, is the stainless steel frets. And so back to this Ultra guitar, yeah, that's what happens. There are vendors basically building you a guitar, whether you realize it or not, that essentially never needs a refret. Now, there's going to be a person, there's almost 1,000 of you hanging out, so trust me, there'll be a dozen of you that I've worn out frets, stainless steel frets, and I will stick to this. I have still never seen worn out stainless steel frets. Me personally, I've not refretted a guitar in my years with stainless steel frets. That doesn't mean it can't be done. I'm just saying the likelihood that you're playing to a degree that you're wearing out stainless steel frets is very low. It is very low. I actually think it's none. I think it's just not possible for the most part. But I think it's, if I don't believe in absolutes. So I'm going to say it's just not likely. All right, so I thought it'd be fun to look at the cost of installing stainless steel fret wire, and this is why it's important to understand the topic that we're discussing. First, we're going to look at STUMAC pricing, which is a retail pricing. This is the most expensive you're going to pay, obviously because you're buying it in small quantity and you're buying it from a retailer. Looking at some stainless steel fret, whether you go with a medium or a wide or a medium higher, whatever, you're going to see that a 2-foot piece, which they come in pieces of 2-foot length each, if you get it this way, is going to cost you $9.60. And they're on sale right now, normally $11.29. But I want to use the $11.29 since that's the normal sale price. That's $33.87 in material cost. Now, of course, you have to have the tools to do this, and you have to have the skills to do it. And more importantly, a lot of people will talk about specialty tools. There is no specialty tools for stainless steel. For the most part, you're going to use the same files, the same sandpaper, but you will go through those materials faster because this is a much harder material. So it does add tooling cost, especially to a manufacturer doing it on a large scale. But you understand where we're going with this. When you're looking at $500 as a pricing, you understand that the majority of the cost is the labor. It's a very labor-intensive job, and you want to be very skilled at it. If you want somebody who does a good job, you want to make sure they've done this many times and they have a good reputation. So what I'm basically getting at is, to the manufacturer, although the cost is expensive, it is not nearly expensive. So if they want to add this feature, you can see why I was explaining to them why a lot of people feel that it's a great value, because it costs so much once you add it after the fact when it comes to labor cost. Because again, it is a labor expense, not so much a material expense. If you like this clip and you'd like to watch another one, you can click right here. And if you want to see the entire episode of the podcast, you can click right there. As always, thank you for your time and know your gear.